It's MFL MarMac Coach Conversation brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Meyer Auto Service, and Havlicek Trucking. We're with head coach Dan Anderson. Last week, Bulldogs a 42-6 victory over Denver, and sounded like you kind of got back to the basics once again. Got the victory, and you're going to play at least a ninth game, and that's ultimately a good thing.
Right. Yeah. We're on a pretty good run here the last 6 years, and this will be the sixth year in a row that we've been a district champ or a district runner-up. And so, no matter the outcome on Friday night, we're going to be the 2 seed, and that means we get to host a home football game. First playoff game of the year. In Monona. So that's always great when you can play at home in the playoffs. And after that, then of course it's all up in the air depending on. We got to win that one, obviously, and then after that, we don't know where we'll go, but we'll be glad to be still playing if we are still playing in November.
And Quin MC the other night, another solid night for him, 113 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, and he almost surpassed that 100-yard total on an interception return for a pick 6. Take us through that play.
Yeah, I was really pleased with the defense. We didn't give up. Our starting defense didn't give up any points on Friday night, which is great. So Denver, they did complete a long pass and tackled at the 1-yard line, and our defense really buckled down. They tried to punch it in on first down, and we stuffed them, and they tried to run option on second down, and they lost a yard or two. And so it's 3rd and goal at like the 3-yard line, and they come out of a formation that we were familiar with, that we'd scouted well, and we were expecting a mesh, which is a pass where the receivers cross, and we'd practiced against that a lot, and Quin MC stayed home and where he needed to be, and the receiver crossed, and he stepped in front of it and picked it off and went 100 yards the other direction for a touchdown. So, to hold those guys out of the end zone when they're at the 1 on 1st and goal, I was really proud of the effort that the kids gave. And, it's pretty cool when a kid goes 100 yards coast to coast for a touchdown on interception return.
And looking at the stat sheet from the other night, I was very impressed with your special teams. Van Cranberry, 6 for 6 on the PATs. 1 punt return for 20 yards from Eli Hansen. 2 kick returns for 48.5 yards per return from Parker Keel. And I guess the most important part of special teams, you didn't, well, I suppose it may be a negative, but probably a positive. You didn't get a chance to practice your punt on a game night, but that's okay, right?
Yeah, anytime you don't have to punt on a Friday night, that's a great thing, and I'm glad you brought that up, Darren, because our special teams, they don't always get the credit that they deserve. And Ben Cranberry is a great kicker. He was the district MVP last year, and he's got the leg to kick the really long field goals. He's got a leg to be a college kicker. He was kicking them 47, 48 in warmups, and one of them he hit the upright. He didn't make it in warmups, but he hit it. It was probably 3/4 of the way up from 47 yards out. So I think it would have been good from 60 to 65. So he's got a strong leg. Hope he gets a chance to kick one at some point here over 50. He broke our school record, but the special teams were good all around. Anytime that we had 2 kick returns in the game, and both of them into Denver territory, one all the way back to like the 10, and one I think maybe like their 40 or 45 or something. So we always had good field position on Friday night, and even on the punt returns too. So, we thought that could be special for us on Friday. We work our special teams a lot, and I was really pleased with all the kids that were playing on special teams, and my special teams coaches that work with those guys, and 6 for 6 on PATs. All around, we won every aspect of the game, offense, defense, and certainly special teams.
You touched on it earlier, the fact that no matter what, you're going to be the number 2 seed and get a home playoff game next week. Does that take a little bit of the pressure off heading into this final week of the season? And will that allow your kids just to go out and play football?
I think you must be listening to our conversations at practice, Darren.
I swear exactly I'm not, man.
I know. I think word for word what I said to the kids. I said, guys, the pressure's off. You've got it wrapped up. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to have fun out there, enjoy it. Look at the crowd, enjoy the sights. We want to get a win. The thing is, it's important for us to continue to get the win and play well, because we won 42-6 last Friday night, but there were times that we sputtered and we didn't play great football. And I'm a perfectionist, and I was pretty hard on the kids at times in the first quarter that, hey, we got to get going. And I'd shoot them pretty hard there. I called a timeout and I really let them have it. And it's amazing, though, sometimes you do that, and the next play, we go a 45-yard untouched run, you know, with with our wing back there, Brock Hackett was untouched on a counter play. And, you know, sometimes the kids just need a little extra motivation. But, you know, this week, the pressure shouldn't be there. You know, go out and have fun. It's senior night. If that's not enough motivation for these seniors and these older guys, I don't know what is. They're playing in front of their home crowd, last regular season game of the year. You know, lots of grandparents, parents, supposed to be beautiful this Friday night. So I expect our kids to play with high intensity, and they need to. You can't play this game of football, you know, just going through the motions. If you want to play at a high level, you got to play with some intensity. You know, you got to have some fun, some enthusiasm. And we were lacking that at the beginning of the game on Friday night against Denver. But you know, gave them a little boot in the rear end, and they got going. And then we rolled to a big victory. So.
And this week, Central Springs coming to town. What are you expecting Friday night?
You know, they started the season 3-0, and they were averaging 40 points a game. So they've got a pretty dynamic set of backs. You know, they've got two brothers that play running back, that a sophomore and a senior, and those guys are fast, man. They've got wheels. We showed the kids on film, you know, against multiple teams in our district, where if you let those running backs get to the outside, both of them, you know, either of those brothers, you know, they can take it 80 yards pretty easy and outrun you. If you don't take good angles, you know, they're gonna go all the way. So you're gonna have to keep those guys contained. You know, they've given up quite a few points the last few weeks, and you know, they haven't scored as many points now they're in district play. Our district's pretty tough, and you know, as long as we play well and come out fired up, you know, I believe we're going to get the victory. But they've got some dangerous kids on their team. They got a good tight end who's a tough kid. He's a good wrestler. You know, wrestles about 190 pounds, and he plays D line for them. You know, they've got all their skill positions are pretty good, solid. You know, tough kids. They're not necessarily big. They've got a lot of kids in that 150 to 180 range, but they're all tough kids, and we definitely have the size advantage. But that doesn't always make, you know, you don't win on size, you win on toughness. And hopefully our kids come out and they play with that toughness that I've seen at times this year. Then there's been times where we just kind of, you know, we do enough to win. But if we got to play on Friday night like we're playing a playoff game. We've been telling our kids that we got to start, you know, we got to treat this like a playoff game, and no matter the competition you're playing, you know, they know that I'm going to be on them pretty hard if we're not playing up to our potential. And so I expect, though, senior night they're going to play up to their potential and hopefully get a big win here at home, and then springboard us into the playoffs here next week for another home game for the playoffs.
All right. Hopefully that's exactly what happens this Friday night, Coach. Keep kids healthy. We wish you best of luck.
All right. Thanks, Darren.
This MFL MarMac Coach Conversation with head coach Dan Anderson, brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Meyer Auto Service, and Havlicek Trucking.